Ruth is in Barnet. Ruth, good evening.
Oh, hi. Thanks for taking my call. So listen, on last week, the end of last week, I received a notice of debt recovery from Direct Collection Bailiffs Limited. It was served at my address, and it transpired it was for my daughter who lives in Hackney.
Okay, Ruth, could you take care not to name the debt collectors, please?
Yes, of course. All right. I'm so sorry. Basically, she parks her car in a car park near where she lives, and she has a pass for that, but she omitted to scan the pass. When she moved from one rental flat to another, she updated her driver's licence, but didn't realise she needed to update her logbook. Therefore, the parking charge went to her old address and she never had it. Hence, it got passed to the bailiff. So I paid it. I realised she hadn't updated the logbook, and I updated the logbook for her as well. 3 days later, I got another one, and I paid that as well, 170 quid. Today, I've got a third notice for 3 more unpaid parking charges.
Wow.
Now, what do I do?
Sorry, Ruth, I get that she might forget to scan her parking ticket once, but 5 times? 6 times?
I think she just didn't. She has ADHD. She commutes from Hackney to Hertfordshire every day. And I think early in the morning, I think she just forgot about it and just didn't realise. And I have no idea how many times she did this.
Here's what I would do. First of all, she is clearly liable for those parking tickets.
Agreed.
Right? But what you're trying to avoid paying are the extra bits for the initial non-payment.
Because we never received them because she wasn't at the address to which they were sent, and she couldn't then appeal them.
Understood, but of course she wasn't at that address because she'd failed to update the DVLA properly. So
correct.
So here's what I would do. I would contact the car park operator and ask. Don't go through the debt collector. Contact the car park operator directly. You'll need to have written authorization from your daughter because they won't deal with you otherwise.
Right.
And ask them if they would explain the situation and ask them if they would waive the remaining charges.
And there could be more than the ones I've received.
Agreed.
There could be another 10 or 20 for all I know.
But you have to speak to them and find out. They'll know whether there are more in the works. All they'll have to do is type your daughter's registration number into their computer and they'll know immediately. Right. So speak to them, find out how many there are, ask them if they'll consider waiving them. Explain that she never got the notifications and say that they are all to be appealed. The problem is your daughter's not really got any grounds to appeal them on, has she? These
ones I've received relate to December last year. Well, we're in March now. She's still using that car park.
Wow.
She knows now because we've had that conversation, but there could be hundreds. You know, there could be multiple instances of this. One extra point, she has ADHD. What about disability discrimination? That's probably why she just omitted this. So that's a possibility, or not?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you could try to argue they've failed. What reasonable adjustment do you think they should have made that they failed to make, Ruth?
I don't know. From my point of view, she has ADHD and she didn't rush and she'd never thought about it.
Okay, I'll ask the question again.
What
reasonable adjustment do you think they should have made that they've not made?
The fact it's March, nearly April, and this has been going on for 3 months.
How would they know that she's got ADHD so as to make reasonable adjuststants? Did they know? Were they on notice? I assume not.
Correct, they couldn't have. You're right.
So I'm afraid that's a non-starter. As much as I'd like it to be a strong point, I don't think it is. The other thing I would do is contact the owners of the car parks, not the people who enforce the car parking rules, but contact the owners and see if they will write and ask for the fees to be cancelled, the fines to be cancelled. But ultimately, Ruth, and I am going to have to move on in just a second because we've been talking for quite a while now. Ultimately, the car park company that enforces the fines will give you details of an external appeal body, which will either be something called POPLA, POPLA, or the IPA, depending on which one they subscribe to. That's the Independent Parking Adjudicator. POPLA is something like Parking on Private Land Appeals. And you can appeal to them. And they take a less legal approach to these things than lawyers like me do. And they will often try to do what they think is fair, which might involve reducing those fines to the level they should have been before the increases were added.
Okay.
But can I say two things, Ruth? Number one, you sound like an absolutely amazing mum to pay your daughter's fine for that situation.
I haven't told her about the recent one. She can't deal with it. It's just too much for her.
I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
Ruth. And second of all, Joe has actually texted, and it's a really good point. There's a Facebook group called Fight Your Private Parking Invoice. And you'll get advice on there from people who fight tickets daily. Fight Your Private Parking Invoice. And that's on Facebook. All right?
All right. Thank you for your help.
Thank you very much, Ruth.